Kimberly Guilfoyle, Geraldo Rivera, Dana Perino, and Tom Shalhoub. It's 5 o'clock in New York City, and this is The Five. South Carolina's GOP primary is 3 days away, and the latest poll shows Trump maintaining his double-digit lead, Cruz in second, and Rubio in third. The state's Republican governor, Nikki Haley, is about to endorse a candidate. Yesterday, she made it very clear it's not going to be Trump.
You know, when you have candidates that come in that go against governors, it's everything that a governor doesn't want in a president. So it's safe to say you're not going to endorse Trump? I think it's probably safe to say that, yeah.
I guess it would be. Well, we found out earlier it's going to be Marco Rubio, and she'll appear at a rally with him in an hour. Now, Trump's holding right now a rally right now in the town of Walterboro. We'll watch that to see what happens. But first, reaction to Governor Haley's upcoming endorsement of Marco Rubio. Nikki Haley endorsing Rubio.
As you know, I always feel about endorsements that adding, not subtracting, is really good. And yesterday, over the weekend, I think Jeb Bush, one of the candidates, said that the Nikki Haley endorsement would be just one of the biggest things that you could get. And she decided today to go with Marco Rubio. And I think that for her, I mean, that's a tough decision. I mean, there's a lot of good candidates that are remaining, and South Carolina is where it's third, so that's why it gets a little bit heated, and the battle is joined there, and that she's going to endorse him. Adds to the Tim Scott, the senator from South Carolina, and Trey Gowdy endorsement. And those three are very powerful Republicans in South Carolina with a huge amount of approval ratings amongst them.
And is that
actually end up happening? I mean, again, I think endorsements are great. If you're adding, not subtracting, that's really good. I mean, I would argue that the Haley endorsement in South Carolina is better than the Palin endorsement of Trump in Iowa. I think that you could argue that, even though Palin is not a government figure at this moment, but Haley in South Carolina has about an 81% approval rating, and that's a good thing for Marco Rubio.
What do you think of this endorsement, number one? And number two, Jeb Bush, now he's got to be saying, hey, what about me?
I'm sure he was hoping to get this, but he was honest about it and said this is an endorsement that matters. Like you said, followed in the plus versus the minus, column. So this is an endorsement I'm sure anyone would have been very happy to receive. She is, well regarded within the Republican Party. She's made no bones about it. She's not a Trump supporter, so we didn't think he was going to get it, right? I mean, Jeb Bush, Marco Rubio, I think this actually hurts Ted Cruz, because this is really giving sway to kind of a movement for Marco Rubio and saying, okay, well, if you're coming down to these two guys, these two young senators, give a push for his column.
Good point. Geraldo, today Quinnipiac came out with a national poll. GOP voters said Trump number one at 36%, I believe it was. Now, second place is now Marco Rubio. Ted Cruz has slid to third place, 19 and 18, if I'm not mistaken.
I think that the Nikki Haley endorsement might be relevant as to who comes in second, but it doesn't amount to a hill of beans in terms of who will win South Carolina, who will win the Nevada caucuses on Saturday, who will go on to get the GOP nod. The people who are for Trump, they don't care about endorsements. Trey Gowdy doesn't count. Even Tim Scott, the only African-American in the United States Senate, his endorsement doesn't count when it comes to the Trump supporters. I had a black cab driver, took me into town. He said, I'm voting for Trump. I said, why? Because I'm out. He's an outsider. He's going to shake things up.
But Cruz and Rubio have been fighting it out variably for second place.
Well, it may be marginally. The person who is most, I think, filled with lament right now is Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush brings his mom. He brings his brother, the former president. And what happens? They can't even fill a stadium, a 6,000-seat stadium.
What do you say, Tom?
People. My question is, why so late? I mean, she's from South Carolina. She could have been running around the state.
A player, yeah.
Now, what's... Right. You think I'm right?
No, I think she's right.
She's right. Why? Because of the news cycle?
No, I think she did the right thing to let the candidates go through Iowa, New Hampshire, take a look, see what's happening. Maybe she could have said 6 months ago she was for Marco Rubio, but maybe she didn't know that. I mean, the other story about this,
she's saying it's the best move for Haley, that she waited, but there was no advantage for her jumping in too soon, but a disadvantage for a candidate.
Especially do it before, a few days before South Carolinians vote. I think she did the right thing. But
She'll get a lot of attention, I think, but I feel like that isn't campaigning about running around and I feel like there was a lot of time. It's great for national news, but I think as a local politician,
You're saying
I feel like
a candidate would have benefited more from an earlier endorsement. Of course, that's
But 25% of voters in South Carolina say they haven't made up their mind yet. So the last few days matters.
And Dana, I would guess, well, let's move on, but I would guess she was going to wait and see until after the debate, see how things shook out at the debate.
Yeah, and if she had done it beforehand, everybody here would have been like, how dare she do that?
All right, let's move on to this one. Trump has threatened legal action against Ted Cruz over one of his ads that challenged Trump's stance on abortion. Today, Cruz said, bring it on.
He's a liar. So he'll go up and he'll absolutely lie. And I don't want an apology after the election. I want the apology before. And if he doesn't, I'm going to bring a lawsuit.
To Mr. Trump, you have been threatening frivolous lawsuits for your entire adult life. So, Donald, I would encourage you, if you want to file a lawsuit challenging this ad, claiming it is defamation, file the lawsuit.
So Cruz says his campaign was sent a cease and desist letter ordering them to take down the spot. Now, starting on the legal end of the table. Your thoughts on this whole back and forth?
It's like an opera
really good
or something.
And
it's just, to me, it's just, I don't know, when he comes off like that. I mean, I know he's super smart. He's up at the Supreme Court, all of that, true conservative, check the box. But guess what? It still just comes off too much like performance art. It's like so dramatic. It's like La Boheme, and it's, I don't know. It's just, to me, it doesn't sit well with me. It doesn't make me feel smooth.
You want to talk a little bit with the legal?
I'll talk legal, absolutely. I think that Ted Cruz is absolutely right on the law. It is an impossible defamation suit to file. The suit that Donald Trump should file is the natural-born citizen. There he has, I think, plenty of experts on his side that say that Ted Cruz is not a natural-born citizen. But to win a defamation suit in the context of a political campaign is impossible.
And Dana, talk a little bit about this Quinnipiac poll showing Trump with a commanding lead over Cruz. Why is he punching? You could say he's punching down now.
Yeah, I'd say it was unnecessary. And if there's one thing that Republicans just love, it's the filing of frivolous lawsuits. I mean, that's a page out of the left's book. It's a way to get attention, but Donald Trump doesn't need this to get attention. I think it's unnecessary.
What do you make of this back and forth?
Well, I think it's a brilliant way to get attention. I don't think he's serious about the lawsuit. He just uses it as a way to mention that Canada thing. He brings that up every time in the way that he loves to get any opportunity to brand his opponents. Whenever he can talk about Jeb being low energy, he does that. And so this is a great way, because when you threaten a lawsuit, you get in the press. That's what people talk about. If he had just mentioned the Canada thing again in passing, we wouldn't have reported on it. But people love to talk when there's a lawsuit.
You should just be like, oh, yeah, Ted, I'll get back to you about the lawsuit after I win and beat you in the election.
I think the Canada thing is actually not working as well for Trump as he thought, because if it was, he would still be using it. He would be using it more. I think after Iowa, he backed down on that.
Well, we thought it got old, but then he said, when he was at a speech the other day, he said, and this I just learned in the past few days that, he might, he acts as if it's new news, and he tries to make it fresh again. But I think it does. Some people who don't know what's going on, they just have this sense that if they don't follow politics, that maybe Ted Cruz is from Canada and they're going to hold it against him. You know what I mean?
Ted Cruz is from Canada.
I know, but
actually,
I think you should have just hit him on the liar. Liar, keep staying on that liar. Forget the
pants on fire.
And he gets Rubio to jump in.
Dana's right about
this.
This
helps Rubio, though, by the way.
And it also helps Trump that Rubio jumped in on that. Oh, by the way, Cruz is a liar.
Well, but by the way, Cruz had been drafting behind Trump for about 6 months, so.
All right, how about this one? Is Donald Trump unstoppable if he wins South Carolina? Newt Gingrich has some ideas.
Bush isn't going to drop out. Rubio's not going to drop out. Cruz isn't going to drop out. Kasich is not going to drop out. Carson may be less of a factor, but take those four. Why should any one of them say, oh, I'm going to sacrifice and quit so we can consolidate? And the result is, I think you very likely are going to see Trump. I wish he were a little more presidential. I think it would be better for him. I think it would be better for the country. But I got to say, this aggressive, strident style, he is holding his base together in a way that I really thought he would suffer from the debate performance the other night, and it doesn't seem to have had any impact at all.
Yeah, and KG, inside that poll, you look at foreign policy, you look at defeating ISIS, you look at the economy. I mean, the guy has a commanding lead across the board, Donald Trump, on all of those.
Right. Well, people want a wartime consigliere to run the country. That's kind of where everyone is at. That's why you have people who say, I'll vote for Donald Trump or I'll vote for Bernie Sanders. They want someone who's going to shake things up, that's outside, the kind of the status quo and politics as usual in D.C. And when it comes to Trump, that's when he has the advantage over someone like Sanders, et cetera, because they think if somebody's going to muscle up and not be afraid to call out ISIS or other people, it's going to be Donald Trump.
Did you happen
The rhetoric
to
is
see...
matching the mood a little bit of the country, and, so they have to see what they're going to get.
Did you happen to see there was a protester at a Trump rally last night who was flipping the place off, and then there was a cop and a former
Iraqi veteran.
Yeah, and a veteran who escorted him on. They came and they were big Trump
And then he let him speak.
Yeah.
He let the guy speak that throughout the protest.
Your thoughts?
My thought is this. I believe that you, Eric Bolling, favor, at least emotionally, Donald Trump. In the same way that I may favor Donald Trump emotionally. If I put words in your mouth,
you are
let me
putting words
finish
in
my
my mouth.
sentence. That's my premise.
Yes.
So no one can be further right in the GOP, nor further left in the GOP than you and I. The fact that Trump is appealing to both of us is a function of this.
He appeals to me, but not
let me
for-
get to my
not for the
punchline.
emotional reasons
Let me
that you're
get to my
suggesting.
punchline. The fact that he appeals to both of us across a huge ideological gap
I'll agree
means
with that.
we are putting into Donald Trump what we want to see. That is
Can
the
I just
brilliance of
clarify
Donald
this
Trump.
before I bring it on to everyone else? I don't have an emotional attachment to Donald Trump. I like the fact that he's a businessman. I've known him for a long time, and frankly, tired of business as usual in D.C. I would like to see someone with fresh blood changing,
It's a different
shaking
way
the
of saying
place
the
up.
same thing.
Not an emotional.
Man crush.
Man crush.
Man crush. I hugged
He's
you.
got a centerfold. The Donald
You
Trump
want me to
centerfold.
bail you out? I think I'll let Tom take it.
All right, no, I'm not looking for a bailout. I just want to.
I have actually something to say about that. So in South Carolina, it's an open primary. One of the things that works in Donald Trump's favor is this crossover. So in the South Carolina primary, if you're a Democrat, you can vote in for a Republican in the primary. That does help Donald Trump. Probably helps his numbers a little bit. Might help Kasich as well a little bit. Maybe not enough, but it could help a little bit. The problem I don't understand why when you're this far ahead, why don't you then try to start consolidating some other gains if you're Trump? So 26 in a poll this morning, I can't remember the name of it, but 26% of Republicans polled said they would never be able to cast a vote for him. So in my opinion, instead of spouting off leftist trutherisms in the debate about the Iraq war and WMD, why not try to consolidate the fact that you are in the lead and say, okay, I realize that the rest of the GOP is not going to all of a sudden become anti-trade, pro-Obamacare, appease Putin, whatever it is. Why not try to then start thinking ahead to the general election rather than cutting away at the lead that you already have?
Or maybe because if you lock down South Carolina, you got New Hampshire, South Carolina, and no one else has won. I mean, that makes a great case for running the table.
These are not winner-take-all states yet, but they are starting March 15th.
But I agree with Geraldo to an extent. I don't know if it's that the voters are seeing whatever they want in Trump. He's taking positions that are all over the place. So, of course, I think he is starting to think of the general election already, and I think that's what he was doing the other day when he was going after Bush and he was talking. He was taking some left-wing talking points because I think he is going to pick
Planned
up
Parenthood.
Yeah, but by the way, Dana just gave you the most important point of the show so far. Winner takes all in less than 30 days.
All right. Yeah. In fact, I think 40% of all the delegates are going to be awarded in the month of March, if I'm not mistaken.
March Madness.
Big March Madness. All right. Make sure to tune in at 7 p.m. Eastern. Governor Haley will be on Greta's show following her Rubio endorsement. That's a big get. You don't want to miss that. And I'm going to be hosting the O'Reilly Factor at 8 p.m., so please keep it right here on Fox News Channel all night straight through. Coming up, conservative icon Rush Limbaugh takes on the issue of Trump's conservatism. Stay tuned.
Well, a lot of conservatives have questioned whether Donald Trump is a true conservative, including Rush Limbaugh following Saturday night's debate.
There were a number of occasions where Donald Trump sounded like the Daily Cause blog, where Donald Trump sounded like Democrat Underground, sounded like any average host on MSNBC. He's not stupid. He has political advisors. He has a lot of people who are conservatives who are there to tell him where the boundaries are. And he crossed those boundaries on Saturday.
Trump isn't always in lockstep with conservatives, right? So, well, one of Russia's callers asked him how he's doing so well without holding all the same beliefs. Here was his answer.
The best thing I can tell you, folks, I guess, as I assess all this is not an election, a competition of philosophies. We're way beyond that. People are not going to rely on philosophy to accomplish anything. You can have the best philosophy in the world, I don't care what you call it, and it's not going to mean anything if you're up against somebody who succeeds at making people think he's going to break balls, kick butts, take names, put people in prison, fix the country, make the country great again, whatever the hell that means to people. You can philosophize all day long in competition against it, and we'll see you in a rearview mirror.
That kind of sounded good, didn't it? I like that. Take names. Boom. All right. Put away the bad guys. So there's actually some breaking news that's come to fruition here. And Bowling, we have some new poll numbers in.
Yes, the producers just got in our ear and said there's the new numbers, and they gave us this handy little piece of paper. According to NBC Wall Street Journal poll just released between the A block and the B block, it has Ted Cruz with a 28 to 26 lead over Donald Trump. Rubio at 17%. That poll carries a 3.5% margin of error, so basically too close to call in there. 800 registered Republican voters. Bloomberg also came out with a poll about simultaneously. It has Trump 36%, Cruz 17%, Rubio 15%, Jeb Bush 13%.
In South Carolina.
In South Carolina. Oh, yeah, right. The first poll was national, and the Bloomberg poll, I believe, was South Carolina, if I'm not.
Yes.
Is that right? Okay, so that's right. So you have 3 separate polls released today. Quinnipiac has Trump beating Rubio and Cruz combined. Bloomberg in South Carolina. Bloomberg has him beating Cruz and Rubio combined as well, and nationally, NBC Wall Street Journal has.
That's an outlier. That's a big one, though. That is so different than all the polls we have seen. Trump falling to second place in a national GOP poll, and it's a very reputable outfit. NBC Wall Street Journal poll. It's not like Joe's weekly newspapers. This is a big poll. It's the first time I've seen Trump in second place, at least in recent weeks or even months, in a national poll. It is an outlier. Yeah. It's spread 10 points away from the other polls.
26, and what's in the third?
Literally the same day, Quinnipiac is also a national.
And not just Quinnipiac. There were several today, and this is the only one.
No, but on a national basis, one has him tied. The other one has.
Who knows?
Has Trump up by.
But this one seems to be more
20 points.
This seems to
Eric
be more
Trump, inheritance on the line. Explain this.
South Carolina debate.
It's all about the numbers. It's all about the numbers, right? How one of these is one of these pictures is wrong. Everything's been consistently one way, and then there's one poll that has him tied. It's strange, unless he dramatically fell, or they're using a different methodology.
You mean following the
debate? This is post-debate as well.
It is, yeah. Valentine's Day, yeah.
Okay, so Miss South Carolina.
I'm just enjoying the amazement, because the truth is that this race is not over. And South Carolinians, I just said, I think 25% at least are undecided. And they usually make up their mind after the last debate in their state before they vote. And so what Bill McInturff, the Republican pollster that's part of this poll, said, when you see a number this different, it means you might be right on top of a shift in the campaign. What you don't know yet is if it is a change is going to take place, or if it is a momentary pause before the numbers snap back into place. So nobody knows yet. But if I were Ted Cruz, I'd say this is excellent news for Ted Cruz and his supporters, especially his funders. And then if you're Marco Rubio, you got a big boost of the Nikki Haley endorsement today. I'm sure maybe NBC could expect a lawsuit filed, before the end of this show to complain.
Look, that's a Canadian corporation.
I'll tell you what will happen, though. All the establishment who have hated Donald Trump leading by this amount now goes, oh, great. Now we got Ted Cruz in first place. Now their heads are really going to explode.
I got good news and bad news.
Exactly.
Good news is Trump's not in first place. Bad news, Cruz is.
Okay, Rochambeau. Who's in third in that poll now?
Who is in third?
Rubio.
Rubio. All right.
Rubio
was 17.
It's 28, 26, 17 Rubio.
Kasich ahead of Carson and Jeb Bush. That's hard.
That's the highest I've seen Kasich also.
But now Bush doing better in South Carolina. So perhaps there's been some movement there. All right. Well, you know,
what do you see Bush doing better?
Tommy T.
Listen,
Bush is at 4%. Oh, that's
at some point, Trump was going to have to. He was going to start moving to try to get Democrat voters. I thought he really jumped out of the gate at this pass. He's gone way early, and I thought, I mean, Trump has surprised me before, but it seems like that was a strange move to make at that debate the other night.
I don't think it was strategic.
You don't?
No, I think it came straight from the heart. I think that's what he actually
I don't know. Everything he does is strategic. And again, he always blows my mind. When he went after McCain, I thought, well, it's over. I mean, he's always been very strategic. And I think he's cocky. And he thought, I'm going to clean up in South Carolina. And it's time that I start moving on this common sense conservative thing. He's been saying that over and over. He's already trying to play to the middle of this country.
I disagree. I think Dana's right. I think it was just he said it and then he backs it later.
Well,
just like the Mexican migrant drug dealer rapist thing.
I probably
build a wall.
I mean, I would agree with that because Donald Trump isn't very scripted at all, and he doesn't. Honestly, he listens to Donald Trump. He's got a ring of advisors around him, but he does his thing. I'm even the pollster who conducted this poll said, "Hey, don't read too much into this yet." I don't know. I just look. It's an outlier.
But don't you agree with what Rush said? I mean, he kind of he analyzed that correctly. I think that, and Trump knows that it's not about issues, so he is going to keep playing this personality game and make people think that he is a disruptor.
All right, I'm going to soothe bowling when we get back with a Trump tie. It's going to work out, I promise.
I'll probably would do.
Coming up, Hillary Clinton's in danger of losing another contest this weekend. If Bernie Sanders takes Nevada, can her campaign recover? Next.
You say Nevada. Primaries a week from Saturday. Blacks make up 55% of Democratic voters. At least they did back in 2008. Secretary Clinton holds a comfortable lead in South Carolina. But in Nevada, which holds its caucuses this Saturday, blacks only make up 15%. At least they did in 2008. Polls there show her in a virtual tie with Bernie Sanders, and the importance of race in the race for the White House is not lost on either Democratic candidate.
We have to begin by facing up to the reality of systemic racism. Because these are not only problems of economic inequality, these are problems of racial inequality. Race still plays a significant role in determining who gets ahead in America and who gets left behind.
A broken criminal justice system tied to institutional racism. What we have got to do is bring justice back to the criminal justice system.
First of all, I agree with both Democratic candidates on this issue of race. South Carolina, KG, has something neither New Hampshire nor Iowa has. South Carolina has black people.
Yeah.
55% of the Democratic electorate is black. They are 90% approving of President Obama. That's why Hillary Clinton wants to be the Siamese twin of Barack Obama. If she can ride that black wave, she can sustain this attack that Bernie Sanders has mounted.
Well, she's riding that black wave that was voted in by Americans across this country for 2 terms in a row. So, I mean, she's making this argument and race baiting and fear mongering, going on and on about race relations, which I don't think she's helping further positive race relations whatsoever with her rhetoric, because it just seems rather self-serving, because she wants to pander to them and she wants to get elected by saying, look, you've been treated so horribly, but I'm going to treat you very well.
Be that as it may, and I don't disagree with Kimberly, the fact of the matter is, in states where there are a substantial percentage of black voters, I think Hillary Clinton can withstand the Bernie Sanders charge.
It's insane what's going on, though. You're right. She's attached herself to President Obama for some reason.
For this very specific
but think about this, Geraldo. And she's clearly doing this. But under President Obama, from 2009 to now, President Obama, incomes for African Americans have gone down. It's the only group. Hispanics' incomes have gone up. Whites' incomes have gone up. So they fared the worst under President Obama. Poverty has gone up. The biggest expansion in poverty has gone up within the black community under President Obama the same years, and the unemployment number has also skyrocketed. African American unemployment has skyrocketed under President Obama. So if you really care about the African American community, what Bernie Sanders should be doing doing is pointing out these numbers, saying you don't want 4 or 8 more years of that. It's going to put you further and further in debt. But for some reason, African Americans want to vote for her because she has now attached herself to Barack Obama. It's a big mistake.
You know, I see it very pragmatically, Dana. I think that in states where there are significant minority populations, Hillary Clinton will prevail. But I was at the College of Charleston in South Carolina. I could not find a Hillary Clinton supporter, and I venture to say wearing a Hillary Clinton sweatshirt would be as popular as wearing a KKK
but you saw
sweatshirt.
Bernie Sanders.
Bernie, if it was, and they were like 2 or 3 for Rubio, but vast majority Bernie Sanders.
Yeah, I heard the same from a friend who was with her daughter at a cheerleading competition in Atlanta, and she said when she came back, she said she couldn't believe how many bumper stickers she saw for Bernie Sanders and almost none for Hillary Clinton. This is not a scientific poll. Okay, but the other thing is, she, in her speech, she's talking about how basically she's saying that whites have it better because the law protects them more or it works in their favor, but no one has considered themselves more above the law than Hillary Clinton. I mean, if you look at, for example, on the email scandal, she made a decision that was just flying in the face of federal law, of classified information, and she believes that she's done nothing wrong. I mean, she actually considers herself so above the law. The other thing is, to Eric's point, is such a good one about the economy and what's happened in the last 8 years. And I hope that everyone's being very honest about the future, because it's not going to get easier to create jobs for lower income folks with the new technologies that are coming online now that are disrupting manufacturing and even some white-collar jobs now and service-oriented jobs. I mean, this is not going to get easier. We have to have someone that is really honest about what's going to happen globally and also here.
I don't disagree either. This is retail politics, though. I'm talking just demographics, just numbers, just practical.
Yeah, but she
I want to be elected.
Did you see those speeches? Those speeches, she doesn't sound convincing.
Isn't she on the right track to get the vote she needs among people of color?
I don't know. They're only going one way, to Bernie. Because did you see that rally? I mean, it seems like his heart is in it. I was not convinced by her at all. She better get Bill.
Largely a white crowd.
Black people like Bill Clinton.
That's largely a white crowd.
No, but did you see what Bill Clinton said in Memphis? About
we're
being
all
the first, about being the first, the true first black president, and the Genome Project. I mean, come on, I don't think I don't think the answer is sending in Bill Clinton.
We all come from the cavern in Africa. We do. He's right. We're all related. 6 degrees of separation.
Yeah, and they still like Bill more than Hillary.
True.
At least they did until Trump emasculated Clinton brilliantly. Gotta go. Apple going to war with the federal government about being forced to help the FBI unlock the phone of one of the San Bernardino terrorists. Why the company says it is not going to comply when the 5 returns.
Apple putting itself above the safety and security of the American people. The company is vowing to fight an order by a federal judge to help the FBI unlock the phone of one of the San Bernardino terrorists. In a letter to customers, CEO Tim Cook says, "It would be wrong for the government to force us to build a backdoor into our products." The FBI's Director James Comey said last week the agency doesn't want backdoor access to devices. It just wants the companies to comply with counter-terror requests.
It is a big problem for law enforcement armed with a search warrant when you find a device that can't be opened even though the judge said there's probable cause to open it. As I said, it affects our counterterrorism work. It's not about us trying to get a back door, a term that confuses me, frankly. I don't want a door, I don't want a window, I don't want a sliding glass door. I would like people to comply with court orders.
So, KG, the company is saying that they have bigger concerns. They have a global customer base, and so they're just thinking for the long term and in the interest of everybody. But
well, grow up and keep America safe, Apple. I'm going to go back to BlackBerry. You guys suck, and you might as well be like unindicted co-conspirators. It's a specific request. They're not saying create something on everyone's device to get in the back door. They're saying when we prepare this and have this motion signed by a judge asking you to comply with a request for counterterrorism, honor it. Thank you.
Here's why I'm not compliant.
Very cogent and passionate, but I think you're wrong in this respect.
Well, I'm not, and I'm a lawyer.
You have to create a backdoor. And maybe Comey doesn't really understand this. The way the encryption works is there isn't one. There's no way in unless it's created.
Lying.
Apple's lying?
Lying.
All right, well, whatever. Okay, assume they're not lying, because we can't assume everyone's lying in this, especially under federal court order to prove you're not. But if you create the way in for the iPhone, which they put together the phone that there was no way in 2014.
Well, and they can get into the device.
Fine. Listen, you
know
may
that,
solve the crime at hand, and everyone wants that crime at hand solved. But if you do create that, That means that backdoor is now available as a master key to every single iPhone. If gotten in the wrong hands, your financial records, your medical records, your personal data, your pictures, your phone, and your camera could be used from afar.
Edward Snowden, exactly what he said. Edward Snowden shows there are no secrets. Secrets eventually all leak out. They create the backdoor, the vulnerability for everyone with an iPhone. Guess what? Edward Snowden Jr. leaks it and destroys the privacy of everybody.
There's hackers that could get in there right now.
There is righteousness on both sides in this argument. Here's my suggestion: let Apple do it. You get a one. Let Apple.
They can do that tomorrow if they wanted to.
Apple has protected its secrets impeccably, unlike the federal government. Apple creates the thing. Let Apple find their way into the guy's phone, and Apple says, "Here's what it says." Government, without telling the government how they did it.
But Apple says they're not going to do that. I think Apple's smart to resist because everyone's all over. If you look at my social media all day, congratulations to Apple. Oh, good for Apple.
That's why Apple did it. Okay,
I know because they're fighting it. I think they're going to do it eventually, but they're going to show some resistance now because they don't want to give up too quickly.
But in the meantime, KG, don't the victims' families of the San Bernardino attack deserve a little bit more? I mean, wouldn't all of those leads have gone cold by now?
Don't the victims of the San Bernardino attack were heinously murdered by these vicious terrorists? Like, this is like a victory for ISIS. What team are you playing on? They can get in there right now as we speak. There's hackers right now that can do it. And by the way, Apple, you're so secure. Ask every actress on their iCloud with their photos being leaked and nude pictures.
Exactly.
Oh, you're impenetrable. You can get into this phone, okay? Let's not play around
Why can't the FBI then?
Okay, because they're following the law.
What if the FBI did that without following the law?
That's why they went to a judge.
Guys, the law says if the FBI can get in, they have the right to access it.
There's due process safeguards in place that there has to be probable cause and a legal standard put forward to be able to do it.
Our government cannot be trusted to safeguard people's privacy. That has been shown to be the case.
I'm not subscribing to this theory. My theory is in the wrong hands.
Apple's a private company.
This in through the encryption backdoor is dangerous in the wrong hands. That's my
Kimberly, if you're investigating this case, how do you track down who the terrorists were talking to if you can't get to their phone records?
If I can't get into the phone, I make friends and romance a hacker, and I get in and find a way to get it into evidence. What do you want to...
Romance a hacker.
My point being that you can't prevent terrorist attacks.
Yeah, I mean, I can probably get into that phone quicker than these guys. We make a few calls during the break.
I can't believe we can't get in the phone. I think,
for real life,
are amazed by that you can't get into the phone.
And now all the terrorists know it.
Yeah.
Well done. All right. President Obama says his job is a serious one. Not for Donald Trump with his reality show Pass, but the president has a few reality shows under his belt, too. We're going to open up the presidential archive.
Weighed in on the presidential race again yesterday and still doesn't think Donald Trump's going to get his job.
Being president is a serious job. It's not hosting a talk show or a reality show. It's not promotion. It's not marketing. It's hard.
It's hard. It's interesting the president should note how serious the job is when he's made quite a few appearances on reality shows and talk shows himself.
I have green lipsticks, one for your first wife.
My first?
I mean.
Do you know something I don't?
Oh.
Do you send Ambassador Rodman to North Korea on your behalf? I read somewhere that you'd be sending Hulk Hogan to Syria, or is that more of a job for Tanya Harding?
He's not our ambassador. The reason it's so important to keep down costs is so we keep college affordable.
And the president knows his stuff, y'all. That's why they call him the POTUS, which means person, job. What is it?
Jimmy, POTUS stands for President of the United States.
He's the POTUS with the most.
Thanks, Obama.
He's good. Those were good clips. He's funny, right? I mean, he's played this pop culture game pretty well, hasn't he, Kimberly?
He has. I mean, he's very good at it. He's quite masterful. And guess what? And that's what the Dems are used to. So now they're like, whoa, what happened? Someone took the sexy and threw it out the door. It's not working so well now,
he's
is
so
it?
cool. I think he's very cool.
Now
He's
they have
cool.
Hillary.
I think he's cool. I think he's being pretentious, though, about the job. It is, of course, it's serious. You got the world, the fate of the world at a fingertip here. But the office over history has moderated everyone who's ever sat behind the desk in the Oval Office. It will moderate whether it's Trump or Clinton or Sanders or Cruz or Rubio. It has a great leveling effect. Dana knows better than most.
Yeah, but so why is he criticizing? Why is he saying
because he hates Trump? I mean, Trump is. If you are Obama, you hate Trump.
Because they're doing their own internal polling and they're worried about a Trump presidency and seeing that the reality is that he can beat Hillary Clinton.
Isn't that
and
what it is, Eric? How long is this Democrat talking point of we would love to run against Trump?
Oh, that's gone. That's out the window. In fact, Hillary Clinton on Saturday Night Live made a big joke. We got Trump, ha ha ha, and now they're going, we might get Trump.
Yeah.
President Obama to say, he's just a reality show host or whatever he said, that's ridiculous. President Obama broke the mold. Everyone said, well, here's a guy who was basically born of the internet. He was cooler, he was hipper, and now he's saying, well, that's not the way. That's not very presidential. Has he ever been presidential, Obama? Has he really? Let's be honest. Does that sound bad?
No,
Is that bad?
He has been presidential.
Really when, Geraldo? I'm not really sure.
In his various speeches, he is very philosophical, very presidential.
When he decided to, with 4 draped bodies at Andrews Air Force Base, to blame a video, or when he decided to go golfing after he announced
You're talking about demeanor. You're talking about appropriate. You're arguing, a political point about a specific.
I don't think he's a typical presidential president. So the hypocrisy.
Bill Clinton played the saxophone. George W. Bush chopped wood.
Does the office have dignity any longer, and should it even have dignity?
Well, the office of the presidency, of course, has dignity. One of the things that brought George W. Bush to win in 2000 was a promise to restore dignity to the office. The other thing, though, I want to say about this is what President Obama has done on those in those appearances, especially the Between Two Ferns, he has utilized them to achieve a policy goal or an outcome or political outcome that he was looking for. So I don't think it was frivolous, his appearances, and he's obviously very good at it. So whatever your strength is, you use that to advance your position.
Advance your position like March Madness, baby.
One more thing is next.
Changes everything.
Time for one more thing, and Dana kicks it off.
Okay, so did you miss me yet?
I did.
Just kidding. I was away, and then I was on a plane, and we were circling around JFK forever, so I didn't make it yesterday. And I wanted to say thank you to Savannah. The Savannah Book Festival was amazing. Anybody here who has a book? Tom, Jasper came. He was a huge hit, but it's such a professionally run festival that I think that you guys would be huge hits there. You should take your books there next year if you can. Jasper, honestly, he was a big hit, I know. But then that night, this happened on the Hannity Show.
As you know, I'm a sensitive artist now, and these paintings of yours are going to be worth something. I saw the one you did of Dana Perino's puppy. Yeah, Jasper. Jasper liked it. Yeah, I think so. I think Dana liked it too. Did you draw one of your brother yet? Not yet. I'll do that.
I'm waiting for him to get out of his primitive period.
So that's the painting that President Bush did of Jasper. It's my only cherished possession. Like if the house is burning down, you save the painting.
Very good. All right,
not Peter. Oh, Peter.
Yes,
I would save you. Okay, so a German short-haired pointer named CJ won Best in Show at the 140th Westminster Kennel Club Dog Show in New York yesterday, besting more than 2,700 contestants over the 2-day competition. Did you know this?
Cute.
That this is the second longest continuously running sporting event in the United States behind the Kentucky Derby. Nice. Isn't that nice little
beautiful dog?
Looks like a different dog's head is superimposed on him.
All right, I got to go. This is my turn. Don't forget to watch tonight's special edition of the O'Reilly Factor. We have a blockbuster program which includes a unique look at the controversy surrounding everyone is talking about today, surrounding Apple defying a court order and refusing to help the FBI hack into the iPhone used by one of the San Bernardino terrorists. Take a listen. I got to ask you this: do you really want, if that information is sitting right there for the feds to have in that device, do you really want it inaccessible to the feds? Solve a crime, solve a terror attack.
I say yes. And the reason why I say yes is because I think that you can work around, that the government, Homeland Security, FBI, whoever it is, can work around that encryption issue.
Those two security experts, also Karl Rove and Monica Crowley, that and much more in a special edition of the O'Reilly Factor, protecting America tonight at 8 p.m. All right, Geraldo.
Oh, they agree with me.
You know, the president puts down Donald Trump's reality show background. He, on the other hand, embraces it. I interviewed him in the spin room Saturday night in South Carolina. Here he is.
I'm actually a unifier. I bring people together. You're one of the people because you understand. You're a champion. You were a champion on The Apprentice. Believe me, you were a champion. And you are a champion. But I bring people together, and I pride myself in that. And President Obama, as an African American, has not brought people together.
The definite.
Yes.
Nice interview.
You are a champion.
You really stuck it to him.
Thomas?
How do you get to Lincoln Center? Practice, practice, practice. Here's me singing with my friend Jimmy Fallon last Thursday at Lincoln Center. I know we need some better video. That was a cell phone. It wasn't taped because it was a special tribute to Lorne Michaels.
That was a cell phone violation?
Yeah, it was. It was illegal cell phone, I think. And can we show that on here?
You're really good. That's amazing. Was that a big deal for you?
It's fantastic.
Congratulations.
Amazing. We all have to learn our part. Everybody's equal on that stage.
You're recession-proof.
We
You
need
can
to
do
go.
this and that.
That's it for us. Don't forget, special report up next.